The calmest man in the room controls the outcome. Ascenders, gather in. This isn't another surface-level hype session. We're not doing chest-beating, fast-cut edits or alpha posturing. This is a surgical breakdown of what makes Sigma males terrifying to people who rely on chaos, emotional manipulation, and attention hunting. And the scariest part? You're not even trying. You're just moving different. Quieter, cleaner, smarter. They freak out, not because you hurt them, but because you didn't flinch. You didn't react. You didn't beg, plead, or explain. You stayed composed, detached, in control. This video, it's not about proving yourself. It's about realizing you've already proven everything by how you didn't react. So if you're ready to sharpen your awareness, boost your psychological edge, and move like a ghost with impact, welcome. Subscribe now if you're tired of noise and ready for precision. Let's recalibrate. 1. Silent thunder, the shockwave of your indifference. There's something deeply unsettling about a man who refuses to be emotionally manipulated. In a world where people are addicted to reactions, likes, replies, validations, the man who offers none creates a psychological vacuum, and that vacuum sucks the truth out of every interaction. You didn't yell, you didn't cry, you didn't curse, you simply didn't react. And that silence, that's not weakness, that's presence, that's power. Because in that silence, their projections echo louder. They replay what they said. They question how they acted. You didn't give them chaos to focus on, so now they're stuck facing their own. This is the shockwave of indifference. They interpret it as arrogance, but it's actually peace. Unshakable, self-contained peace. You've removed the power from their hands, not by fighting for control, but by redefining control. The less you care to convince, the more they want your validation. The less you try to explain, the more they want your attention. You've become the storm they can't locate. The Sigma male doesn't fight battles. He outlasts them, because most battles don't require participation, just observation. Most drama dies when ignored. Most manipulation collapses when not rewarded, and your refusal to play. That's what shatters the script. In the end, your indifference becomes the loudest message. You didn't raise your voice. You raised your standard. 2. Disengaged to dominate people are addicted to being chased. It validates their ego. So when you disengage, you create a rupture in their world. Most people think dominance is loud, aggressive, and territorial, but the Sigma version, it's colder, it's cleaner. It's when you remove your energy and watch how the room shifts. You leave a situation, no yelling, no warning. And the silence left behind speaks volumes. Because now they realize your presence was value, your energy was status, and your attention. It was the highest compliment they didn't recognize until it disappeared. Disengaging isn't weakness, it's precision. You're not giving up, you're giving nothing, and that nothing has weight. It unsettles people who thought they were the prize. It humbles manipulators who expected reactions. It deflates egos that fed off your attention. Every Sigma man knows this. When you walk away, you don't just exit the scene, you shift the scene, you redefine it. Your absence becomes a mirror to their dependency, and that reflection, brutal. So while others compete, chase, or beg, you don't even show up to the arena. You're not proving anything, you're observing who exposes themselves when you don't. That's dominance, silent, strategic, unarguable. 3. Power in precision. No extra words. Words are cheap, reactions are cheaper, but the Sigma male knows precision is rare, and rare things hold value. You don't talk to be heard, you talk to be understood. Once, with intention, then you fall back into your silence, letting others fill the space with noise. That's control. You don't explain yourself because your actions already do. You don't overtalk because silence is more unsettling. You don't argue because you don't need to win. You've already won by not lowering yourself. This is what confuses people. You say little, but your presence says everything. You're not antisocial. You're selectively social. You're not cold. You're calibrated. You're not passive. You're strategic. And once they figure that out, it's already too late. They talk themselves in circles trying to read your energy. But your mystery isn't an act. It's a standard. You don't let people in through words. You let them prove they can handle your quiet. And in that quiet, that's where your power lives. 4. Emotional alchemy. Turning triggers into tools. Most people are ruled by emotion. Sigmas use emotion. They don't suppress it. They study it, reverse engineer it, convert it. Someone tries to insult you. You register the attempt but don't absorb the intention. Instead, you analyze it. Why did they try that? What's the weakness in their play? What emotional leverage were they hoping for? And when you don't give them what they wanted, they're exposed. Your ability to stay calm under fire isn't numbness, it's strength. It's internal stability. You've felt chaos before, and you've learned not to let it take the wheel. Now, you turn triggers into fuel. You use pain as pressure to refine your purpose. This emotional alchemy is why they fear you, because most people depend on emotional games to survive. But you're not even playing the same game. Your restraint is rare, your reflection is powerful, and your ability to turn emotional attacks into inner clarity. That's a Sigma superpower. 5. High ground vision. Why you don't argue. Arguments are emotional quicksand. The more you move, the deeper you sink. But you, as a Sigma, don't get pulled into that. You see the trap before it's laid. You understand something most don't. People rarely argue to understand. They argue to win, to be seen, to protect their ego. And you don't reward ego wars with your presence. The moment someone tries to bait you into a back and forth, your silence becomes your sword. Not because you're avoiding conflict, but because you've evolved beyond needing it. You see what they can't. That arguing is an energy transaction. And you never pay full price for nonsense. Your refusal to argue confuses people. They take it as weakness. They assume you have no comeback, but they don't realize you already won by not engaging. You let their noise expose them. While they shout, you study. While they react, you refine. And while they spiral, you stay on the high ground, unmoved, unshaken, unbothered. This high ground vision isn't about moral superiority. It's about tactical awareness. You know that words can be twisted, that debates turn emotional, and that most people aren't ready for truth, only validation. So you stop playing by their rules. You start building your own reality instead. In the end, people remember how you didn't react more than how you could have. That's real power. 6. The mirror effect. Your calm exposes their chaos. Here's the psychological trick no one talks about. The calmer you are, the more chaotic people feel. Why? Because most people use others' emotional responses to justify their own. When you don't respond, they're forced to face their raw emotion alone. That's the mirror effect. Your calm reflects their imbalance. Your stillness exposes their noise. You don't even say anything, and yet they feel judged, disarmed, and defensive. You're not attacking them. You're just showing them who they are when they can't shake you. People fear the mirror. They fear being exposed without confrontation. You never raised your voice, but now they're panicking. You didn't insult them, but now they feel disrespected. That's the power of Sigma presence. It's not what you do, it's what you don't do that rattles them. This is why they freak out when you stay composed. Because your maturity doesn't give them ammunition. You rob them of the performance they prepared for. They brought fire. You brought rain. They wanted noise. You gave them stillness. And now they're left alone with their chaos. You didn't destroy them. You revealed them. 7. Calculated absence. The strategic vanish. Not all disappearances are created equal. The Sigma male doesn't vanish to hide. He vanishes to recalibrate. Absence, when used intentionally, becomes a message, a declaration, a shift in power. You were there, present, focused, then suddenly gone. No announcement, no drama, no last word, just absence. That silence echoes louder than any confrontation could. They feel it, they notice, and most importantly, they question it. Your absence becomes presence in reverse. It forces people to think, to reflect, to realize, and often they realize too late that the one they took for granted had already recalculated their value and exited the frame. The power of absence is that it rewrites the narrative without needing words. You're not ghosting, you're repositioning, you're not avoiding, you're evolving. And that disappearance? It's your way of shifting from participant to observer. You didn't disappear because you lost. You disappeared because you leveled up. 8. Internal loyalty. You keep promises others don't hear. Loyalty isn't loud, it's quiet, it's personal, it's internal. Sigma males operate from a different code, one written in silence, forged in solitude, and kept in motion through self-respect. You make promises in the dark, to yourself, about who you'll become, what you'll tolerate, and what you'll protect. No one else hears them, no one else needs to. Because you don't make them for applause, you make them for alignment. This kind of loyalty is rare because it doesn't bend. You don't shift based on pressure, peers, or praise. You don't need external validation to stay disciplined. Your consistency comes from within. That's terrifying to people who live in reaction mode. Others sell out their standards to feel accepted. You guard your standards like currency, because once you lose your own loyalty, what's left? You don't need to be loyal to everyone, only to the truth, your truth. And when you live from that place, people either align or they exit. No force, no convincing, just frequency. Loyalty to yourself is what creates peace. And peace, that's your home field. 9. Minimal energy, maximum impact. You don't waste energy, you aim it, like a sniper, not a shotgun. You speak when needed, move when strategic, and act when the result is worth the cost. This is what makes Sigma males efficient and dangerous. People are used to over-explainers, over-sharers, energy drainers. You're none of that. You do less, but your less carries more weight. Your glance holds weight. Your pause feels intentional. Your walk-away becomes a chapter in someone else's story. This isn't laziness, it's design. You've mastered the art of conserving your energy for what matters. No overreaching, no emotional splurging, no trying to fix people who enjoy being broken. That's maturity, that's discipline. Minimal energy doesn't mean minimal care. It means maximum discernment. You've filtered your circle, cut the fat, protected your mental bandwidth, and now your energy isn't scattered, it's lethal. So when you finally move, people feel it, because you've built a reputation not on volume, but precision. 10. The disruption of maturity. Nothing is more disarming to the emotionally immature than a calm, measured response. You could scream, you could expose them, but you don't. You simply respond with maturity, or worse, indifference. And that's when they unravel. People are used to games. They expect reactions. They rely on drama as currency. So when you reply with clarity, not chaos, with control, not combat, you disrupt their programming. You're not playing the role they rehearsed for. The Sigma male doesn't flex emotional superiority. He lives it. He understands that maturity isn't about always being right, but about choosing what's worth your energy. And 9 times out of 10, the most powerful move is to stay still. That stillness, it's deafening. It doesn't give them anything to work with. You didn't snap. You didn't defend yourself. You simply responded with reality, calmly, rationally. And in that moment, they realize they've lost. Not just the argument, the access. Because you don't entertain emotional volatility, you exit it. Your maturity becomes disruptive because it reveals how far others have to go. It's a mirror, and it doesn't lie. It's not that you think you're better, it's that you know what you're not going to be anymore. And that realization forces others to either level up or fade out. Either way, you didn't react. You evolved. 11. Unreachable frequency, operating above noise. You're not hard to understand, you're hard to access, and that drives people crazy. You don't live in the same mental bandwidth as the average. You're tuned into something quieter, deeper, more refined, and that frequency, most people can't reach it. You don't respond to cheap shots. You don't explain every move. You don't live in online debates or seek surface-level approval. You've moved past that. You're operating above noise, above gossip, drama, attention addictions. That's what makes you rare. They can't predict you. They can't read you. They can't figure out why their usual tactics don't work. It's because you're no longer triggered by what used to bother you. You've elevated, and now the game isn't interesting. It's obvious. Your peace, it's not passivity, it's proof. Proof that you've seen the chaos, tasted the dysfunction, and decided not to dine there anymore. So now when people try to provoke you, they get silence. Not because you're avoiding, but because they no longer meet the entry requirement for your energy. Your presence is no longer public domain. It's invitation only, and most don't qualify. 12th strategic neutrality, the myth of being cold. Let's clear something up. You're not cold, you're calibrated. There's a difference. Being neutral doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care selectively. You don't let every problem become your crisis. You don't let every person have access to your emotional vault. People confuse this with being detached or even heartless. But that's their projection. You're not withholding affection, you're withholding access. And only those who've earned it get to experience your depth. Strategic neutrality is a tool, not a defense mechanism. It's how you filter energy. It's how you protect your momentum. You don't blow up over small things. You don't fall apart over disrespect. You notice it, log it, then quietly restructure your boundaries. They expect you to fight for your position. You don't. You just reposition. You leave situations not with rage but with peace. And that's what unnerves them. They were ready for war. You chose silence. They came with fire. You showed up with ice. That's not emotional numbness. That's emotional mastery. 13. The weight of stillness. Stillness isn't the absence of action, it's the presence of discipline. The Sigma male doesn't act out of pressure, he acts out of principle. So when you're silent, it's not because you're lost, it's because you're calculating. In a world addicted to urgency, stillness is intimidating. People equate movement with progress, but you know better. You know that sometimes the most powerful play is no play at all, just observation. Your pause makes people uncomfortable. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know if you're planning or leaving. And the uncertainty, it exposes their instability. You've trained yourself to sit in discomfort. You don't fill every silence. You don't rush to respond. That stillness gives you clarity. It gives others projection, because when you're still, they'll reveal everything. Out of fear, out of insecurity, out of confusion. Stillness is your strategy, and its weight? Heavy. It speaks louder than noise ever could, because in your pause, there's intent. In your quiet, there's awareness. And in your stillness, there's power that others can feel, even when they don't understand it. 14. Legacy over. Impressing. You don't live to impress people. You live to build something that outlives their opinions. That's legacy. And the Sigma male is obsessed with it. Not in a flashy way, in a focused way. While others post for validation, you're building in silence. While others seek likes, you're stacking moves. Because you're not after applause, you're after alignment. You don't want to be popular, you want to be permanent. Every decision you make isn't just for now, it's for later. It's for something bigger than ego. You don't care if they notice today. You care if your impact is felt when you're not even in the room. That's the difference. Legacy isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the dark, in your discipline, your solitude, your sacrifices. It's the result of years of quiet work that most will never see. And when it finally shows, it doesn't ask for attention, it demands respect. You're not trying to go viral, you're trying to become vital. And that makes you untouchable. Ascenders, take a breath and look around. You've made it to a level where peace is louder than chaos, silence is sharper than argument, and walking away is the most powerful move in your arsenal. You didn't reach this point by accident. You chose clarity. You chose to stop playing games. You chose maturity over mess. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them spin stories about why you didn't react, why you didn't chase, why you disappeared. You don't owe the world your explanation. Your evolution is explanation enough. You don't exit like the rest. You don't slam doors. You don't make speeches. You just move. Strategically, quietly, powerfully. And when you're gone, the silence you leave behind echoes longer than any goodbye ever could. The Sigma path isn't about isolation. It's about elevation. It's not about proving your strength. It's about protecting your peace. And that's what freaks them out the most. Not your success, not your mindset, but the fact that they can't access you anymore. Not unless they evolve. So to every ascender listening, stay focused, stay detached from noise, stay dangerous in your discipline. And if this message resonated, not just in your ears but in your bones, then make your move, subscribe, not for me, for you, for your code, for your legacy. Until the next transmission, walk quiet, move heavy, ascend infinitely.